My name's Adele Cobain. I'm a mum already and got another baby on the way. So I know what it's like to get that positive pregnancy test, that excitement you have when you go to your first baby scan, when you get to tell your friends and family how happy you are. But nothing can prepare you, me, or anybody for what you're about to hear.
We weren't expecting to fall pregnant, so it was quite a nice surprise. Basically the pregnancy all the way through was pretty normal. I had morning sickness up to about 22 weeks. We found out at 20 weeks we were having a girl. I think when you get to 20 weeks you generally think that you're kind of on the home stretch. You get 30 weeks, you're kind of almost there.
Being a midwife, it entails obviously working with women, being with women. That's what midwife means, with woman, and it's lovely being part of a woman's journey.
We had 2 baby showers for her, but we had all like the nursery ready, the pram set up, we had the car seat, all her clothes were filled in the drawers, and everything just ready for her arrival really. We found out mostly along the way she was breech. I got to about 38 weeks and I had my routine doctor's appointment. By that point we knew I was going to have a C-section, and on the morning of the 38-week doctor's appointment I said to Ben that I felt a bit blurred vision, like I saw like black and white spots, and that was probably around about 11 o'clock in the morning, midday-ish sort of time. When I went to my doctor's appointment, the doctor sort of checked me and just said, "Oh, just lie on the bed, we're going to just check for the heartbeat." And then I sort of laid there and she said, "Oh, I think it might be my machine, I'll go and get another one." She made me then stand up and she said, "Oh, can I just feel around your bump?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." And she said, "Oh, when did you last feel her move?" I can't honestly recall. And then I didn't know at that point what was going on. I thought it was just a silly machine. So she sort of held my hands and she said, "Oh, we need to get you straight to the hospital. I'm going to ring through and tell him you're coming." And the consultant sort of told me to lay down, and he got the machine and he checked around, there's no heartbeat, and she'd gone. I think, sorry, I think that was the worst. I think just when your world collapses, but you don't.
At 38 weeks, Louise and Ben had sadly lost their baby.
I just remember Ben just sort of hugging me and we just both cried. I think we were in there for, it felt like hours, just left in the room to sort of be together.
It's really hard, you know, your heart's literally in your mouth when you're trying to find a heartbeat, and it's, as a midwife, we can't literally diagnose that. We would obviously say to the woman, unfortunately, you know, there may be a problem, we can't find the heartbeat, but we would always then obviously call a doctor to come in. But it is heartbreaking, and you just obviously feel for that woman, and it's not a job that you can then, you know, go home and it's a day at the office, if you like, or, you know, obviously every job has pressures, but you obviously come home and that stays with you for quite a while. You really feel for that woman, and it's, you know, that is the hardest part of the job, really, telling somebody that.
And I think I just automatically assumed they would just say, "Right, we're going to C-section you, we'll get the baby out, you know, she's passed away." But they didn't. They said, "You need to go home." And I think that was the worst part, is having to leave the hospital and then come home, just sleep. Well, you can do sleep, but, you know, sort of, sorry.
With just over 24 hours of labour, on Friday the 11th of September 2015, Louise gave birth to a little girl called Adora.
At the time I felt guilty feeling it, but I didn't know if I'd be scared, or I just didn't know what she'd look like. And, well, you've never seen a dead baby, so I wouldn't know what to expect, basically. She was warm, she looked normal, she looked fine. She was 7 pounds 8 ounces.
SANS was established in 1978 by bereaved parents, and now nationally there are about 100 support groups for bereaved parents to access support. I'm involved with SANS because I'm also a bereaved parent, and I went for support after we lost our son, and then decided a few years down the line that I'd like to volunteer and hopefully help people in what can be their darkest hours, just by listening and being there for them.
And then next time I saw her, she was sort of like in a little basket sort of thing, came in, and we spent 9 hours with her. No one tells you, oh, you should take photos, because even if I've got 50 photos, 50 never feels enough now. I always want one more or something different to look at, and I know we'll never have that.
Louise and Ben wanted to know why this had happened. Louise was fit and well and had no complications during her pregnancy.
But I said to Ben, let's just send off for post-mortem, because if there's something, if I killed her, my body done something, I want to know for future pregnancies. The post-mortem results came back and there's nothing apart. The only thing they could think was there was a gland here that she would have squashed her cord or something because of the breath that was, or the last breath like she would have taken. So it only came back that they think she squashed her cord. I was kind of relieved that my body hadn't necessarily killed her. Some people from who I've spoken to that have lost a baby, they packed it away straight away. Mine stayed there for the whole time until Everly was born, really. I comforted myself. I quite liked sitting in there sometimes and having a cry, and I didn't dare touch stuff. I liked how it was.
The death of a baby is not rare. Every day in the UK, around 15 babies die before, during or soon after birth. That means every 90 minutes a family is faced with the devastation of the death of their baby.
SANS, the local charity, I think they say that there's 15 neonatal deaths each day, which obviously in our society we wouldn't think that it was that many, so it is more common than people think.
Personally, SANS supported me. I was able to ring a local support mobile number and talk to somebody over the phone before I've plucked up the courage to walk through a door for a support meeting.
We all had this kind of common loss, really, which kind of brought us all together, and it was really quite reassuring in a way that there were other people out there that could understand what I'd been through.
It was really difficult showing up. The first meeting I was absolutely terrified. I remember that clearly, being really, really frightened that I wouldn't measure up, that I didn't have anything to offer.
And I remember sitting in the meeting and actually not being able to speak. Luckily, my husband had come with me, so I actually just had to whisper to him, "You're going to have to speak for me." I couldn't actually even say my name.
So it was a kind of step-by-step process, really, wasn't it? If I could do anything for somebody else that had lost a child and been through what I'd been through, then I would want to try and do that thing. And that I see as the primary activity of what we do. For me personally, being there in the support group is what it's about.
It was a real lifeline in those really early sort of dark days, and actually it gives you hope that actually you can survive this, although life will never be the same again and you will always carry this with you. You will again smile and laugh, and that's something that you need to know early on.
We still get to talk about our children that we lost 7.5 years later. There's very few opportunities for me to do that now.
SANS, I never heard of them before. We were at the hospital with Adora. Basically, when she was born, they gave us a memory box, which looks a bit like this. If I show you what you sort of get inside. This is a SANS one. There's lots of different charities other than SANS that give boxes in the hospitals, but we got a SANS one. So we got a little teddy bear, and Adora had the same teddy bear, so she got the same little bear. This little teddy bear stayed with her when I saw her in the chapel arrest, and they actually put a little locket of her hair, which was in there, 'cause she had quite a lot of hair when she was born. We got like a little booklet, which basically sort of had her name and everything, and when she was born I had a few photos taken of her, just like her footprint, and little feet there with a little teddy. If I smell it now, it's got a really nice smell about it, and it just reminds me of that day with her, and I like smelling her clothes. It's quite a comfort thing. Obviously each to their own, not everybody wants to smell it, but I find it quite comforting.
As well as raising money for the memory boxes, sometimes we're approached by the hospital. They they need some piece of equipment. The hospital approached us because they were developing this suite. It was going to cost a lot of money because it was going to be a fully equipped medical room with a fully equipped medical bed. I mean, goodness, these things are so expensive. Well, I felt particularly strongly about there being a double bed in the room so that when the family is kind of left for some time on their own with their child, that there's somewhere for them all to lie down and be together. Now, this room has got limited space, so we felt that maybe a fold-down bed would be the most appropriate thing. We bought a bed for £6,000 because that's how much it costs to buy a bed. So my husband and I organised a party and we raised £6,000.
They put you in another room in the hospital where you're kind of away from the crying babies. So we were in this room and we had this we were looking at the book, and it just goes through like the motions of how you might feel when your baby's died. We were scared to see what she would look like, and it kind of says, that's a normal reaction. Some people don't want to necessarily see their baby straight away. You can feel that way. It's normal to feel that way. Also telling, I guess, younger family members. So I've got some nephews. You shouldn't sort of say the baby's gone to sleep, otherwise they might go to sleep thinking they might not wake up. So you have to kind of be honest and just say, the baby died. It's really helpful for grandparents and family members, friends. They've got a card with their helpline, which you can call up any time of the day and there'll be someone there to talk to you. We actually fell pregnant 6 months after we lost Adora. Obviously we were over the moon. This time with the pregnancy test we sort of smiled but cried because you kind of felt guilty. I think as time sort of went on with the pregnancy, I tried to tell myself to feel less guilty. I thought I'd go through all this guilt that I wouldn't be a lover because of feeling guilty that Adora's not here. But you don't, it's a different person, it's a different baby, it's not Adora. Everly's someone different.
They're obviously more aware of what can go wrong, unfortunately, so they are very anxious, understandably. They would be more closely monitored, but a lot of women obviously would be worried that it's going to happen again. Hopefully we can reassure them they are seen more closely second time around, and it's just trying to remain positive for the woman, and that there's been many positive stories where people have experienced lots of having a baby after a loss. But it's just trying to reassure the woman and reassure her if she's got any concerns to always contact a midwife or her GP, any health professional. If she's got any concerns about the movements of her baby or any bleeding or anything, then she, if any doubt, if she's worried enough about that, then she needs to contact her, her community midwife or the assessment unit.
I was definitely anxious the whole way through, whereas I enjoyed it a lot with Adora. So I'm always thankful that I had an enjoyable pregnancy with Adora. I love being pregnant actually, and believe it or not, I'd happily be pregnant again even after Everly. Ben's very good at making me kind of stay calm, and we will get there together and enjoy it while you can, because you don't want to not enjoy it. Or people think, don't worry, you go and have another one, and it's not like that. It doesn't replace Adora, and nothing ever will. And I think I'll always have that void, or that little bit sad, that sadness in me, where I've missed out on so much, and I realise now more so what I've missed out on with Adora, just the smiles and the giggles. However, with Everly, she is that bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and I do love being a mummy to her and looking after her, and she'll always know about Adora. We've always said that she'll know that she has a big sister, and we'll be proud to tell her about her.
So how can we prevent complications and loss during pregnancy?
What midwives would say is always monitor your fetal movements. Women should feel movements around about 20 weeks of pregnancy. The more recent advice is that you should get to know your baby's pattern and the frequency of movement and what's normal for each individual woman. So if a woman has got any concerns about the reduced fetal movements, then she should always contact her midwife or the assessment unit to go down to be monitored.
There has been new warnings that pregnant women should not sleep on their back in their last trimester.
Basically, if you lay on your back, it interrupts the blood flow to the baby. So, you know, if it was only for a few minutes here and there, it would be fine. But ideally, the best position for you to sleep is on your left-hand side. That always encourages the better blood flow from the placenta to baby. So the more oxygen and blood flow that baby's getting, obviously the better that is. So any time that you can be, if you are laid down, if you're laid on your left-hand side, that's the ideal, if you can.
And is it safe to exercise whilst pregnant?
Exercise is fine whilst you're pregnant. If you're naturally an active person anyway and your body's already used to exercise, then midwives would say you can just carry on exercising as you normally would. If you haven't exercised for quite some time, we wouldn't recommend that you go off running a marathon because your body's not used to that. And obviously your pregnancy hormones can make your joints and muscles a bit more lax. But if your body's already used to exercise, then it's perfectly fine to carry on exercising during your pregnancy.
SANS rely on the generosity from supporters to fund the vital work they do. There are hundreds of enjoyable ways you can choose to raise money, from fun runs to marathons and even attempts at record breaking. You can organise your own event or take part in a pre-existing event. By fundraising for SANS, you will help them to provide essential support for parents after the death of a baby and work to reduce the number of parents affected by stillbirth and neonatal death.
It's a real honour actually to talk to bereaved parents and for them to tell you about their babies, and parents need to know that their baby matters.
I think the best way that people could react or, you know, like be around someone who's gone through losing a baby is, I think, just bring it up. And you might feel awkward bringing it up, but or mention their name, or even like in birthday cards, Christmas cards, you know, the dates that are important to you. Like for instance, you know, Dora's birthday for me, we always celebrate. We've done a balloon release and a party for the last 2 years with all like my close family and friends, and it's not a day. I think some of my family members thought the first birthday would just be like a morbid, like depressing day, and actually it was blue sky, sunshine, we played rounders, and it was a really nice time because it was just remembering her, and I felt really comforted by that.
So how would Louise and Ben like Adora to be remembered?
I think just to be remembered, if I'm honest. There's nothing, you have to do anything special. It's just to know that she's part of our family. She always will be. And obviously when you hit milestones, I'm always going to think when she should be starting school, when she'd be graduating. I wonder who she would have been, you know. And I think most of my family and friends always make an effort to remember her. So just remember her really, to be part of the family.
If you've been affected by stillbirth or know someone who has, don't hesitate to contact a support group. SANS is just one of many amazing support systems out there.